in collaboration with the Cyprus Mail. This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Haralambous.
On this week's programme, we talk to the Deputy Minister for Research, Innovation and Digital Policy about the progress we're making in our digital transformation.
My mandate is to provide quality services and quality interactions and experience of every citizen and every business with the government.
If you're planning to study in the UK, the British Council is running a week of information webinars with everything you need to know.
There will be dedicated workshops and sessions during the week to give them more information about the cost of studying and living in the UK at all levels, postgraduate and undergraduate.
And the Cyprus Forum takes place tomorrow at the Nicosia Municipal Theatre. But if you can't attend in person, it will be streamed online.
We're trying to create some policymaking innovations in order to improve the quality of policymaking in Cyprus.
Last week, the Deputy Minister for Research, Innovation and Digital Policy, Kyriakos Kokkinos, invited the press for a briefing on his ministry's plans for a holistic digital transformation across government. When I spoke to him, I asked where we were now with that digital transformation.
We're on the right track. I think that the journey started with the pandemic, unfortunately, but it also helped us as a catalyst to accelerate. We are working on a three-speed mode. One is digitalization for coping with the pandemic, which is already embedded into the society and the economy. The second pillar is small digital interventions on government microservices, giving the citizens and the entrepreneurs the accessibility to government services through web services, which we started with a bunch of about 15-20 government services already provided. And we also established what we call the Digital Services Factory, which is a framework and an institution within the ministry for quick and consistent production of government services. In total, 165 services are in the pipeline.
When we last spoke, soon after the ministry was set up, you were telling me about short-term, medium-term and long-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
How far are you down the road to achieving any of those?
The short-term goals have been already achieved, okay? The mid-term goals are well established. And the plan for the long-term goals is already in place. The long-term goals are the big transformative projects. So the budget is in place. It's a budget of 282 million from the Resilience and Recovery Plan, plus another 150 million from national funds. So we have a pipeline of roughly 430 million euros of projects that are transformative, like Ministry of Education, school management system, in the judicial system. The reform of judicial system has also a very important digitalization element. These are the big projects, the transformation of our hospital operations and hospital management. These are the long term. But the projects have been already designed, some of them have been procured, and some of them are in the process to be contracted and start the implementation.
Now, how much has any of this had to change to meet the European Commission's requirements, a lot of them before the end of this year, if we are to access the funding that they've promised for all the EU countries in the wake of the pandemic to rebuild the Resilience Fund?
The train has started. The budget is already approved. In the plan, there is a 2022 to 2026 implementation plan for every single project. In order to be approved, and this has been already completed, of course, you have to present a very detailed, specific roadmap, a plan with milestones, deliverables, and everything has to be completed by 2026, otherwise you don't get the money.
Okay, now I think this week's newspaper I read that Cyprus is among admittedly many other countries that are being taken to task by the EU Commission for not coming through on the digitalisation, was it of telecoms and media services, something like that. Is that falling under your ministry, or is that coming from somewhere else? But definitely we're in hot water, and we may get a reasoned opinion followed by all the other EU sanctions.
I don't have any information of this kind in my agenda or in my radar, and if there was such a thing, I should or I would have known, because it's under my ministry. So unless you refer me to the specific thing that...
Which here in the middle of the garden in Nicosia for your event I'm unable to do because I haven't got the newspaper with me. So we'll take a break from that one. But can I just ask you finally to give us your sum up, if you like, of what else is in the pipeline and how this will help citizens, because the bottom line surely is trying to make not only government more efficient and transparent, but also life much easier for citizens.
If you go on what is this ministry stands for, what is my mandate, although some people think that I am a technologist and my ministry is a technological ministry, that's not the case. My mandate is to provide quality services and quality interactions and experience of every citizen and every business with the government. So my mission is to help my ministries by leveraging technology, and through that mandate, through that mission, all our design elements of my short, mid and long-term strategy is exactly driven by this mantra.
One last question. We also spoke last time about the lack of computer skills, particularly in certain sectors of the civil service, the teachers and so on. And you said you were quite concerned about that and planning to do something about it.
Yes.
Have you managed to do that?
Yes. We have come up with the design of what I call the Digital Academy, which is practically a platform, a technology platform where every citizen and every business, they can benchmark or they can do their self-assessment in terms of digital skills and digital fitness, and also define a roadmap for upskilling, reskilling and enhancing their digital fitness, and then they will automatically be directed to the kind of online, hybrid or classroom training that they need to attend. And this is for every citizen, every age, every kind of profession, individuals or professionals.
So even a private citizen who happens to be a civil servant can take the initiative and do it themselves?
Yes, and the starting point is benchmarking, a self-assessment and a roadmap that the platform will provide advice to him or her, what courses to take, how to enhance. He or she has to describe, okay, this is what I want to do with digitalization. I want to do my e-banking, or I am in agriculture and I want to do online my application for the government funding, or I want to do social media, or I want to interact with my grandchildren, or I am 30 years old and I want to enhance my skills for digital marketing for my small company. All these will be benchmarked, and the platform will be providing the facilitation to achieve that.
You say will be. Is it up? And if so, where can people find it?
The platform will be announced by the end of October. Okay, we're making the platform now, and it will be announced early November.
Kyriakos Kokkinos, our Deputy Minister for Research, Innovation and Digital Policy.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
Next week, the British Council in Cyprus is holding an event that is called Study in the UK. To tell us all about it and how you can join in, we welcome Pantelitsa Michail, who is the Head of Education at the British Council in Cyprus. Pantelitsa, this, I think, is going to be very much, is it an online event because of the current situation, but can you outline for us what will be going on, because it runs for several days, I think?
Yes, absolutely. Indeed, as you've mentioned, this is an online event. However, online provides a much greater opportunity for students to interact with universities of over 50 UK institutions that they will be participating. As you've mentioned, yes, this is an whole week event taking place from the 4th to the 8th of October, whereby students will be able to register through our website. That's the British Council website, which is www.britishcouncil.com.cy. And students will find at the very first page the information about the Study UK, the Essentials, where they can register themselves and attend, a number of webinars that they will be available throughout the week. Also interact and have the opportunity to chat with 53 currently universities attending and being available on the platform throughout the week, and benefit actually from their profile. They can navigate through and find more information of what they offer in terms of courses at all levels, but also in terms of scholarships and funding opportunities available to them.
Are there still funding opportunities available to EU students? Because everything changed, didn't it, with Brexit, and there was a sort of period of grace. But what is the current situation and how much are the fees?
Absolutely. All those questions, students, of course, they will have the opportunity to find out more during that event, because there will be dedicated workshops and sessions during the week to give them more information about the cost of studying and living in the UK at all levels, postgraduate and undergraduate. Of course, they will also have the opportunity to find out more about fundings and scholarships available. Those are also available from the websites of each university, and the profiles that are currently designed particularly for this platform. Of course, the fees are higher now because apparently students from EU are not classified anymore as home students. However, universities do have special offers and special sponsorship and funding, particularly for EU students. And students will have the opportunity to find more about those as part of this event, but also at a dedicated workshop. Moreover, there is an opportunity for them to find out more about the visa and how they can apply. There will be a step-by-step process to assist them on how to fill in that application and what is required. Also, the sessions cover step-by-step guide to undergraduate and postgraduate applications. Moreover, we're going to have this time specially dedicated session on studying in Wales and Scotland, which is going to give them more information on what's special about studying in those areas. And also, something more important, gaining work and experience while studying, which is also quite important now to know, that students, by studying in the UK and graduating from the UK, will also have the opportunity to work, to issue graduate route entry visa, and be able to work for up to 2 years after graduation in the UK. So they will be gaining the work experience as well.
Now then, you said it runs all week, and there are all sorts of things on the link that you sent me. Where can people find that link? Is it on the British Council page? Because it's also got a step-by-step guide, I think, to applying for an undergraduate degree. And I'm just wondering whether or not students who are coming up to thinking about where they might want to study would do well, before they attend any of these sessions that you're doing, to have a look at the websites of the relevant universities.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the whole scope, because students will have the opportunity, by registering to this event, which can be done through our website, because it has the very, very first page. By the click of a button, students will be asked to fill in, a registration form, where this will provide them access to the whole of the page, to the whole of the platform, which is divided into the calendar of activities and events and sessions, and also to the list of participating institutions. Through these two main areas of the page, students will have the opportunity, before actually booking a session to attend, go and check the universities that are participating. They do have a profile themselves where students can navigate, get more information, and find information about the courses available, the scholarships and funding opportunities available. And also, this time, we have enabled the chat button whereby students will have the opportunity to discuss on spot with the university and ask any questions and get answers on spot. This function will be available throughout the week students for all the universities attending. So they could do that first and then make up their mind and get an overview of what's happening, and also book themselves with a session to attend. There are 4 sessions running a day. They start from 12 and they finish up until 7. So, but students should not be worrying, even if they don't manage to attend all of the sessions they are interested at. By registering to the session, they will also have the opportunity to receive the recording and watch it at the time of their own.
How many students are you expecting to sign up for this? Because each session seems to be 45 minutes long, and if you have a whole pile of students in there, they won't have time, will they, to ask questions?
Well, we have another session, but particularly dedicated for questions, and that's on Friday. I'll call the questions big or small, and that's another session on Friday, particularly for students to ask any questions they have. So it's a dedicated session for all students to ask questions. And also, on the same day, students will also be joining another session if they wish to have conversations with university leaders. So throughout, there will be opportunity to ask questions, both at the sessions and directly with the university.
But the first place, I guess, for people to go is to the British Council website, have a look at exactly what you're planning, find the list of which ones they'd like to attend, and then register.
Absolutely. And just to mention that this platform will be available and open to students from October up until February. So it's going to be an ongoing platform where students can get in and out and navigate through and find more information. However, they will not be able to chat with the universities live, as they will be available throughout this week, as well as the sessions. But the platform will remain available to students up until February.
And I think it does also include some on postgraduate studies as well. So if you want to find out more, the place to go is the British Council website. That is britishcouncil.com.cy. And our thanks to Pantelitsa Michael, who is in charge of the education services of the British Council in Cyprus, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
In collaboration with the Cyprus Mail, this is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Haralambous.
The biggest achievement of Crime Stoppers has been the ability of the public to be able to give information about crime anonymously.
There's no way I could have kept prostituting without the drugs. There's no way I could have had my body used like a public toilet, because that's actually what prostitution is.
And then the 4th series I started 3 days after I'd won the Oscar, so the whole of the Monarch of the Glen experience was all interplatted with the Gosford Park Oscar experience.
I was working with Ronnie James Dio, and David was going to reform Whitesnake in 2003.
Cyprus was chosen because Cyprus is a stable, peaceful and secure place.
We have to really look closely. What are we doing with children? What are we doing with adolescents? And what are we doing with adults that can help them move into a more literate situation?
The ones that I'm proudest of are the ones that were true discoveries, where we found something we didn't know existed.
Tomorrow sees this year's Cyprus Forum, with a whole host of speakers both from Cyprus and abroad. The founder of the forum is Nicholas Kyriakidis, and he joins us now. Nicholas, this is an annual event, I think, now, isn't it? So tell us what's coming up this year, again bearing in mind that I suppose there are restrictions because of the COVID pandemic.
Yes, hi Rosie, and thanks for the opportunity opportunity as last year. Indeed, this is the second event of Cyprus Forum. It's an organization that we aspire to render a tradition for the Cypriot public dialogue. And last year, marking the 60th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence of the Republic of Cyprus, we launched the Cyprus Forum. And this year sees the second event. Indeed, there are still some restrictions. The venue, which is the Nicosia Municipal Theatre, has a capacity of 1,000 people, and we're allowed to have up to 50% of its capacity as physical attendees. So we're allowed to have up to 500 people. So far, we have more than 300 registrations, and we hope that we reach maximum capacity by Saturday.
Now tell us a bit about what the priorities were this year in terms of the topics to cover.
To start with, let's say that last year our motto was policy making redefined. So in general, through the Cyprus Forum and various other projects that our team is working on, and to which I will refer to later, we're trying to create some policy-making innovations in order to improve the quality of policy-making in Cyprus. So last year's motto was policy-making redefined, and this year's motto is launching a new sustainable horizon, Cyprus 2040. So we are looking towards sustainable policies, and with a long-term vision, trying to ask people to discuss about how they want to see Cyprus after 20 years.
One of the interventions, I think, is what kind of EU does Cypriot youth want? How are you going to find that out? Because it seems to me that most of the speakers in that intervention are, well, they're not young themselves.
You're right to point out that in the agenda there are not any young people listed there as speakers, but indeed we have 5 students that are going to be in the panel, together with the Vice President of the European Parliament, Mr. Papadimoulis, and the Director of the DG Com of the European Parliament, Mr. Stephen Clark, who's going to be in Cyprus and who is going to be physically at the venue. And together with 5 students selected by our partners, the European Parliament office in Cyprus, they're going to discuss about the future of Europe and what kind of future that the Cypriot youth wants.
The other thing I see on the agenda is all about gender equality. Now, we've been talking about that in Cyprus for years, and we don't seem to be moving forward very fast.
This is correct. Last year, I think we were one of the first fora to be very strict on the gender parity throughout our panels. We had about 70 speakers, and half of which were women. We also had our very first panel was on gender equality. We had the 3 political party leaders talking about gender equality. I don't know how much impact last year Cyprus Forum made on this topic. Someone could, point out that the new President of the Parliament is a woman for the first time in Cyprus history, but indeed this applies for all panels of the forum, that we intend to use some indicators every year, and we're going to ask an academic institution to do this soon, so that we can monitor the progress in each topic that it is being discussed every year at Cyprus Forum, including gender equality. I should also mention that another innovation that we tried to add to this year's event was to assign each panel to at least one research center or another organization that help us with identifying the topics and the speakers, and this helps towards the discussions being more scientific, and also we think that this will also help the follow-up so that some suggestions or promises by politicians are materialized. For example, we have, as I said, the European Parliament's office as a knowledge partner for the first panel. We also have the Center for Social Innovation for another panel with title Politics and Technology. We also have the United Nations office in Cyprus as a content partner in another panel with title Peace Building Through Entrepreneurship. And to conclude, this is another very interesting panel, the Peace Building Through Entrepreneurship, because since we talk about sustainable policies, and since we say that the topics of our panels stem from the UN SDGs, number one priority is peace, and this is something that perhaps we tend to forget or we have forgotten in the last few years here in Cyprus. We talk about the environment, the climate, sustainable economy. These are all very important, but we shouldn't be forgetting peace building between the Greek Cypriot, the Turkish Cypriot communities.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that one, but interestingly that you said a few minutes ago that as regards the gender equality, you hadn't sort of been able to follow up to see what effect, if any, it had had. Now, bearing in mind that this is aimed at, if you like, informing, if not perhaps influencing policymakers, how do you manage to quantify whether or not the interventions at the forum have had any impact?
Thanks for asking this, and actually I wanted to follow up on my first answer when I said that we're working on various projects. In general, our team works on various policymaking innovation projects, one of which is the Cyprus Forum. And the Cyprus Forum is organized by the NGO Oxygono, which also organizes some smaller scale events, at least one per month. So we try to keep the public dialogue active in various topics. Another policy innovation that we're working on is a platform that we recently introduced, which is called the NOMO platform. And we're trying to give information on what is happening inside the Cyprus Parliament. This is the first ever platform of its kind in Cyprus. It's actually a parliamentary observatory, and we give information on all pending legislation. We also follow all parliamentary committees on what is being discussed there. So this way, it is a tool that helps us, follow various ideas and suggestions which have to do with policy making, and this also engages and will engage even more active citizens or even business people or academics, and thereby somehow push towards reforms that is something that I think the majority of citizens want.
Sorry to interrupt you. We're getting short of time here. I'd like you to tell us before you go where people can register, because if they can't be there in person at the Nicosia Municipal Theatre, they can, I think, watch the events because they're going to be streamed online. So tell us how people can take part that way if they can't be there in person.
Sure. Everyone can register either for the physical event or to watch the event online on our website, www.cyprusforum.cy. Yeah, that's it. Everyone can find all the information online. And just to one last sentence on my previous answer, another thing that we actually promote is transparent and evidence-based lobbying. We want to bring lobbying into the culture of Cypriot policymaking, and we believe that it is another tool that will help us, push towards the materialization of the ideas discussed at the Cyprus Forum.
And that forum is starting promptly at 9 o'clock, Saturday, October the 2nd. You can find out more at cyprusforum.cy. Our thanks to Nicholas Kyriakidis for telling us all about it. Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.